Okay. Hello, everybody. So, this talk, I'll give you an update around pathogen surveillance and a current status of wheat diseases globally. So, we're seeing an increasing threat from transboundary pathogens to wheat crops. This slide tries to summarize some of the emerging and current threats that we have globally. So threats around stem rust, yellow rust, wheat blast, and also fusarium head blight. So these are the diseases that I'll cover in this talk. So for surveillance, so you can see here the map, surveillance activities undertaken by partners in 2025. You clearly see that we're being able to maintain large-scale surveillance activities. There are over 12,000 fields surveyed by partners last year. Focus on East Southern Africa and also South Asia. All the data is being collected electronically using ODK, so it's real-time data that's being collected. It's automatically connected to the forecast models being run by Cambridge University, UK Met Office. So this provides the basis for the early warning systems that we currently have in place. So I guess the kind of big highlight, the whole system that we've been able to put in place is this platform. So we've got operational near real-time surveillance and early warning across Africa and also most of Asia. It integrates the surveillance, the diagnostics, the data management, forecast models, and also the advisories to growers and decision makers. I'd say it's a completely unique platform. I don't think there's anything else quite like this that's operational anywhere on the globe. So let's think about South Asia and yellow rust. I mean, this is a very big both priority disease and priority area. So surveillance work we've done over the years, we clearly see there's a very strong migration route from the Himalaya region across to East Africa and also to other regions, including Europe. What we see is very high genetic diversity for yellow rust pathogen in the Himalaya region. We see the emergence of many new clades and important new races that are emerging in this region. I think the message that comes across is we really need resilient systems in the Himalaya region. We need effective monitoring. I think we need screening of germplasm. We need effective control. But I think if there are investments in this region, they would have massive global benefits and impact. It really is a critical region that needs to be focused on. So let's highlight one race, PSTS 16, that emerged in the region, Pakistan, Afghanistan. And it's a race of concern. So it first detected 2018. Very quickly, within a couple of years, it moved into Ethiopia. It became the predominant race there. It's spreading and is continuing to spread throughout East Africa. It's also moving eastwards. So 2023, it was first picked up in Nepal. It's now spreading across Nepal. 2025, it was picked up for the first time in Bhutan. Similarly, it's also spreading westwards. So 2025, it was also picked for the first time in Azerbaijan as well. It's got very complex virulence and it's got real epidemic potential. It entered the CIMMYT screening nursery in Kenya in 2024, and about 60% of the breeding lines were susceptible to this race. So it's a concern. Given that genetic diversity that we're seeing, we've got a clear and increasing interest on the role that alternate hosts, Barbary Mahonia, could be playing in the Himalaya region in South Asia. We've put in place surveys for Barbary in Bhutan, Nepal, and also some in Pakistan. We're collecting data on locations, photos on to help us identify the species. But across the region, we're seeing this proximity of Barbary next to the wheat crops. You can see the photo of Western Nepal during recent visit from Dr. Eugene. Barbary just right alongside the wheat crops. There's yellow rust in the wheat crops. There's eschal infections on the Barbary. So we're really looking to see if there's a link between the two. So we thanks again to Eugene. We're putting in place protocols with partners in Nepal and Bhutan for testing. Is it possible the eschal infections can infect wheat or other cereals? And we're also interested in, the susceptibility of different Barbary species to wheat stripe rust. But there'll be another talk on this in this session. Sentinel plots, this is another, I'd say, really important new tool that we're using for monitoring. I think the value of this was really demonstrated by the current situation in Europe around the emergence of YR15 virulence. So that was first detected in the UK either the end of 2024 or early 2025. But then, thanks to the network of sentinel plots across Europe, it was possible to really monitor the rapid spread of this virulence across many European countries. So, extremely valuable tool. So, we're taking this concept and we're deploying it across many African countries and across South Asian countries. We've got 12 key stem rust resistance genes and 12 key yellow rust resistance genes. So monitoring the effectiveness of those resistance genes. Stem rust, South Asia, this is another emerging issue and increasing concern. We're seeing the appearance of stem rust, and we've seen the incursion of exotic races into the region. So in both Nepal and Bhutan. So in Nepal, we've seen one of the UG99 races. Across Bhutan and Nepal, we've now got 3 Clade 4F races that are present. They're persisting and they're beginning to spread. They're still at low levels, but I think it's a clear warning signal for the future. Obviously, stem rust was a major problem in South Asia historically. It hasn't been recently, but there are large areas of suitability in the region. And with increasingly erratic weather patterns, then I think it's an emerging concern. Similarly, as I speak now in Pakistan, colleagues there, they're seeing unusual occurrence of stem rust in northern Pakistan. In maybe around 15 different locations in northern Pakistan, they're picking up stem rust. It's low incidence, but moderate to high severity. Conditions are very suitable for disease development. Now it's late season, so I suspect it's going to be pretty low impact overall. But again, it's a caution for the future. Sample analysis is ongoing, so we don't know the race or races that might be involved in this occurrence. Fusarium, another big concern. So we've seen this massive increase in East Africa. So basically epidemic levels in countries like Ethiopia. We've been flagging this for several years, and that advocacy with donors is now paying off. And we've been successful to obtain this Global Wheat Health Alliance project, which has got a clear focus on fusarium, but also blast. So that's some good news. There is investment around fusarium, but it's clearly needed. Similarly, South Asia, we're seeing fusarium coming up across the region. The survey data is showing clear increases. So you can see from the maps the increase in Bhutan, 2024, just a couple of fields. 2025, more than 10% of the fields being surveyed had fusarium in them. I think this is a very similar situation to what we saw in East Africa a few years ago, and I think it's a signal that we've got an emerging future problem coming up in South Asia. Wheat blast, another disease of major concern. Um, We've seen the incursions into both Bangladesh and Zambia, and we're monitoring that very closely. We're seeing expansion in both countries. So there were 7 new districts in Bangladesh in 2025 that were detected. And also in Zambia, we're now seeing detections very close to the Tanzanian border. So clear need for continued monitoring surveillance. We now have genotyping of samples being done by the Sainsbury lab in the UK. They're confirming that it's the original incursion. It's all this B71 lineage that's present in Zambia and Bangladesh, but we're monitoring that situation over time. So just to finish off with a bit of a reflection on all of this. What we've achieved, well, I think really a huge amount. I mean, the community that's in place, the operational platform, the scale that this is operating at, it's a totally unique system. And it's also having very high impact. We're getting more and more kind of information on the impact in terms of scale of reach. We sort of evidence that we're reaching probably about 1 million smallholder farmers with the information. The benefits in terms of production gains, economic gains, they're in the hundreds of millions of US dollars. And also, it's a scalable platform. We can expand this to new geographies. We can also bring in new crops and other diseases as well. Challenges, yes, a lot still remain. I mean, there's really serious emerging threats, which I've tried to highlight in this talk. The yellow rust situation in South Asia, and then the global consequences, stem rust, the changing situation in South Asia, wheat blast spreading in different parts of the world. Likewise, fusarium really increasing, and I think definitely a disease of the future. And then obviously we've got climate variability as well on top of this, and that's really increasing the uncertainty, kind of when and where diseases are occurring. And then funding, I mean, sustained funding. I mean, I think the system, the community, it's too valuable to lose, and we need it more than ever. But it's increasingly challenging to get support to keep these systems operational. So, at the moment we're in a situation, there's some funding for this current year, but beyond the end of this year, then there's nothing guaranteed, which is a very worrying situation. Okay, just incredible thanks to the partners, especially Gates Foundation, FCDO, who've supported us over, well, basically about 20 years. And then the incredible group of partners, the national partners, the advanced research institutes that have really, made this possible, created this community and this platform. So huge thank you to all of them. Okay, thank you very, very much for listening to the talk.